if you want. But obviously, kind of like homeschooling, you're paying for everybody else's schooling, and then you're using your own income to pay for your own kids. So if you're paying for private health insurance in the UK, you're still paying for the National Health Service as well. And typically, you're getting National Health Service hospitals and doctors doing all of your procedures. It's just that you're not on the national waiting list, so if you need a hip replacement, it's not going to be 5 years from now. And if you're over 70, you're never going to get a hip replacement because, well, you're nearly dead anyway, so why should the government spend a ton of money getting you a hip replacement when you're not going to get much use of it? It's kind of not, it's not particularly equitable. You get what you pay for, and you're not paying for anything. It's all coming out of your taxes. So, but that's kind of the way America's going as well. We're doing the same type of thing here. You need to stop following me. Whee! Good job. Okay, we can drop the front mower there. We can drop the back mower on the tyres. Well, we could if we selected it. And we can put the JCB. But this is a Challenger. Put the Challenger over there. Gone are the days where you could trade a chicken for some painkillers and plaster to help fix your child's broken arm or whatever. That's there. And we parked far enough away from the wall. So right about now, what are we looking at? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, game time. I do want the case. I do want the case unloaded before I do a game save and restart, because obviously the bales on the back of it are going to convert into silage with no time delay. It should take 3 days to make silage, because we're playing 9-day seasons. However, if you do leave bales auto-loaded on a trailer, which those bales are considered to be, the built-in seasons delay of wrapped bales fermenting is not going to happen, or is going to be skipped. Okay, we're at 35,000. Let's feed the monster. So I think what I might need to do is, as soon as that's fed, is jump over to the case, and we'll bring the bales down and stick them next to that brick building on the left there, right as you enter the yard. Just so I can get them unloaded and they won't mess up. Why aren't you stabbing? Because the forks are too close to the ground. Let's try that. Okay, stab you. Boop. yeah, we haven't even got one trailer load of clover silage here fed in. Oh. And there's a floaty bale. Let's boink that. That will disappear. Oops. And suck and bounce. Okay, so we got most of that fed. Oops. Let's try and leave the wheels on the floor. Leave that there. So we have basically managed... Oh, these are racks of 30. Okay. So we've managed 24 into the feeder so far. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Let's... get these to the BGA and unloaded off to the other side, and then we have to remember not to feed them to the digester for 3 days. Yeah, I can take this trailer back to the yard as well. And I didn't put the class in for a service. Yeah, well. It is what it is. I mean, it's not vital it gets serviced right away. And frankly, I'm not using the heavy tractors beginning of the year anymore. There's a couple of planting. We're going to have to use heavy tractor to plant the sugar beets we're going to want next year, and also sunflower fields. And any field we buy in December after we've sold our crops, we're going to have to use the heavy tractors to get those prepared. But as far as anything else is concerned, we don't have a significant amount of heavy work that needs to be done on the farm until fall, when we start harvesting again, because that's when we do most of our field prep. Oh, and yes, I'm reading and driving. That's not a good thing. Will always fall into the same patterns and pitfalls. Pretty much, yes. And amazingly, they... I would say that learning from history is not high on the list of things that are taught in schools these days. We have certain factions basically saying Martin Luther King is a heretic and everything he taught is bad. That to me is a problem. What Martin Luther King taught was very much something that everybody should pay attention to. You've got the whole the rise of the Nazis in Germany. It's illegal in places to talk about Nazism because the Nazis were evil and we don't want to teach people how to be evil. Yes, but the whole point of learning how it happened is not to teach people how to do it. It's to teach people how it was done so you don't repeat the mistake. And that's the big problem. Fall of the Roman Empire. Who knows anything about that? Well, nobody, because it's not taught anywhere. Unless you do, classical European history or something crazy like that. In which case you might find out about the fall of the Roman Empire and you might be able to deduce why it happened. But, modern governments don't want to learn about the mistakes they made, other countries made, because we can't embarrass the Brits because of something they did in the British Empire, so we won't teach any of the mistakes that the British Empire made, because that would that would embarrass the British or the English, because it was the British Empire, but it was pretty much the English that ran it. And we can't dwell on the mistakes that America made in its past, because that's embarrassing, and we don't want it. We don't want the knowledge of that perpetuated. The fact is, your mistakes are important, and by burying that, rewriting the history book so that nobody knows about it, doesn't help future generations, because they don't have your experience of making the mistakes to teach them how not to do the mistakes again. So, we are going to carry on repeating the same mistakes of history until we learn that history isn't glorification of mistakes and atrocities that people have done in the past. It's education on why you don't do this, because you don't want to repeat those mistakes. It's like kids when they're playing. There's two ways to find out something is dumb. You get injured doing it, or your sibling or friend gets injured doing it, and you learn not to do it yourself because you don't want the same injury. But obviously, if you learn it firsthand, it tends to be more ingrained. Whereas if you're learning it from a friend or sibling, it depends how far you are removed from it as to whether you're actually going to pay attention to the lesson, or you're probably going to repeat it. Yes, that's... I think we keep that down on the bottom field. Hi, dog. Yay. Okay. Let's wash that. So I'm actually remembering to wash everything today, which I think for the last 3 jobs I've done, we've put everything away dirty. So I've got a seeder that we last used for oilseed radish that's still covered in dirt. Obviously, most of the tractors are still. So I think this one will probably take down the bottom. Actually, I think the baler I store down the bottom as well now. But whatever. Oh, and I still have to put that away. Okay, so down here, let's see if I can get this lined up and parked. Windrower seems to have a wandering problem. I'm not sure if I parked it that badly this time, but it moves until it wedges into the corner. So I could possibly use another shed down here. Not that, I'm struggling for space, but having to park 2 vehicles per bay on some of these bays, they're not exactly wide, so it can be a struggle. Okay, well, we'll put the baler away because that lives next to the thing, the bale trailer thing. Then squeak. Need to compact that sometime too. obviously most of what we're doing with grass these days is just baling and wrapping. It's when I can be bothered to stick a mower on the front of one of the bigger tractors and haul the loading wagon round to collect grass for that one sheep field that's not working properly. But we end up with leftover grass that I stick in there. Whee! Okay. This one away somehow, some way. There we go. And yay. Okay, so that's the baler. Disconnect. There we go. So as I said, we're probably a good 3 days off our grass fields being ready. But that will be the final, solid work that we have for our farm this year. Until winter, and then we'll skip through winter and it'll be spring and we have stuff to plant. So those are our 3 heavy tractors, or heaviest tractors with weights. And it is 10 after 3 in the afternoon. We have happy sheep, happy dog. Here you go, dog. Have some food. Yay. And it's still damp, good grief. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and the ground's not dry yet. And we haven't had rain in a day. So that is all morning dew. So harvesting this time of year is very, very difficult. One of the reasons why we generally don't see soybeans and corn anywhere around. Okay, so what do I need to do next? I think our grounds are all good. I will stay this far zoomed out. And growth, growth, growth. Oh, have they progressed? No, they haven't progressed. Don't think they've progressed. I want to get some herbicide out in these 2 fields. This one, not worth it. This is oilseed radish. I've got to wait until I plough that before I treat it. 25 we did. 5 we didn't because it needs to grow. Wonder if it did. Oh, this is going to be a long walk. Of course, this is something you get the dog and we'd go for a walk. Although I don't think walking through the sheep field with the dog would be a plan. I could have gone to... No, I couldn't have gone to the other clover field because the other clover field is even further from the farm than this one is. Hi sheep, I see you hiding in the tall grass. Potential harvest quantity, 285,000 litres of grass in that field. This... pH is getting a bit low. We're probably going to have to look at liming this sometime next year. But this might be grown enough that we can do herbicide on it and kill those weeds. Anyway, let's find this guy again. Yay. How are we doing? 42,000. Okay. So this is the sort of thing you use the super fast 1 second equals 2 minutes. Just so that we can clear up the bunker, or the digester, and reload it. That's probably good. I did unload those. So those are going to be ready last day of late fall, which is potentially the same day we're going to be doing our grass cut. So we're kind of doing a good cycle of silage at the BGA, where our last load delivered is ready to sell as we bring the next load. That didn't work well. Let's push that all the way down and slide out. Yes. Although that said, we have way too much silage to sell in one day from our clover cut. Although, the clover cut is a mix, sheep food and anything we have left over. Now we're producing so much clover that, to be fair, we are only ever going to use a single cut, part of a single cut, for sheep food. Which means we're always, second cut's always going to be sale only, which is what we've ended up with here. 1, 2, and come on, fall off already. Oh, you, no, not full. There. Okay. So that's 30 bales sold from that cut. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 180, I think we made 181 bales of clover silage from 2 fields. And we're probably using about 90, no more than 90, stored for sheep food. And I still have a ton of that in storage, or stored around the farm. And I don't think the sheep eat that much. So then there's another 180 that we just bring down to the BGA and sell every so often. And we got stabbed on the way down. Whoops. Okay, there is not enough room in the digester for another 4 rack, but we can drop them on top. But yeah, we ended up actually making, oops, well that's a mess, 181 bales total, and I wasn't going to bring one bale on its own out down here, so that got left where it was. Come on, drop out. There we go. Ooh, you're going to fall off. No. Okay then. Nice. And now I have a mess to tidy up, so I will probably, we can jump. Of course, if I need a little bit better perspective, would be nice. Okay, let's move the camera. Let's see what we're doing. Spikes, oops, level, stab. There, yeah, that's what I wanted. try and get as many of those on this digester as possible. So at least the yard looks tidy, even if the digester doesn't. Or I'll completely fail. That's always a different option. We'll grab those 2, maybe 3, we don't know. Stab that one. Magic. Oh, you're gonna fall out. And we'll grab the last one. I guess I'll load the last 2 manually. I'll leave the single alone for now. Maybe I'll do something with it. So, time is 4 o'clock. 12:30 real life time. Okay, fine. Try again. There now. Not sure I'm going to be able to position this on the digester and have it not fall out on me. There we go. Okay, that's good. Let's speed up the time, get some of those fed. This 1, 2, 3. Next one will be that front one, and then we're going to have to knock the one that's there. Okay, I'm going to grab these 2, or this one. Trip over it, because that's what we do. Okay, BGA is nice and tidy. Drop that down. I'll get those 2 gone and we'll call it for the day. So we will be back next week with some more silage bale selling. I will probably... This digester's not going to be empty before the end of the day. I might manage to get 6 more bales loaded and sold. But for now, we are sitting here selling silage bales. We have so many. So everybody have a good Labor Day. Enjoy your steaks, hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever you're having. But for right now, I'm out of here. Catch you all on Saturday.